Yes, Honorable CJ. Yes. So, I will take you to Section 40, Clause 3, and I would ask the committee that before you retreat to write your report, the Cabinet Secretary should comply with the Section 40, Clause 3, Paragraph J, and produce justification why this project is not suitable for open competitive procurement. Cabinet Secretary, please provide that justification which the law requires as a precondition for going into a PPP. Honorable CS, also fight at Section 40(1), Clause 1 of the Act. It requires you to establish an evaluation criteria for the proposal. I would also request that this committee be served with the evaluation criteria which was established to deal with this proposal. I will also go to take you back to Section 4, which you quoted as a justification for not complying with the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act. That section is very clear that that act applies if there is counterpart funding. And I will ask that you clarify to the committee if the government of Kenya is providing any funding, and what is the status of the government of Kenya entering into direct and substitution agreements with the lenders. I will also persuade of listening to the CS. His argument is that the end justifies the means. And I would like to tell the CS that in Kenya, the end does not justify the means. There's due process, there's rule of law. You must pursue them because even the Auditor General, under Article 229, Clause 6, audits government entities for lawfulness first, then effectiveness second. So as for the reference you keep on making, there was a desktop evaluation. The law does not require superficial evaluation. And there's no provision in the law for evaluation twice. The evaluation is done once, it is thorough and complete. So I would request that the committee be supplied with that evaluation report. These things of reference to the desktop and whatever is nowhere in the law. If there's an evaluation, it's an evaluation that was well done, that's comprehensive and complete. Let us have that evaluation report supplied to the committee. And then finally, as regards to your continuous plea to necessity, it is necessary, it is necessary. I want to give you a quote of what was said on the floor of the House of Commons some 300 years ago by William Pitt the Younger, who was a Prime Minister of Britain twice. He said, necessity is the plea for every infringement of human freedom. It is the argument of tyrants. It is the creed of slaves. In Kenya, we have a democratic government. We don't allow tyrants. And we are citizens. We are not slaves. So please observe the law. There's no option for this government but to observe the law. And what you have presented before us is an attempt to overthrow the lawful dispensation of this country. You are going against the Constitution. You are going against the laws of this country. And even your 20 points that you are giving here in your return is cherry picking. You have chosen those parts that in the law that seem to justify what you have done and given them as 20 steps. I would urge this committee to reject these 20 steps as being a corruption of the law and an attempt to mislead this committee, and demand that the minister complies 100% with the law. And finally, Chairman, I pray that the committee summons the CS for Finance, who is the custodian of this act, so that we can give him appropriate questions. I'm not a member of this committee, but given the enormity of the issue that was before this committee, I've left everything that I was doing to be able to be here. And I would love to meet the Minister for Finance, because I've got issues with the way these things are done, and I'm very, very clear in my mind that CS for Transport does not have the standing or the capacity to answer those questions lawfully so that they can go on record lawfully. He's a stranger to the exercise. I fully appreciate the decision of the committee to apply to invite him as maybe in charge of transport, but he is not the custodian of the PPP Act. We would like the custodian of the PPP Act to appear before this committee so that we can give him the heavy lifting we want to do with him as regards the Adani scam. Thank you, Chair, for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. I think before I make my closing remarks, we have Senator Cheratke.
Thank you, Chair.